everybody. My name is Claire Parker. I'm the Legacy Team Director here at 5 Point, and I'm here with Michelle. She is our Director of Ministries here, and we have been going through this series called What's the Point? It's basically just telling you guys about the point in 5 Point, the church. What's the vision of the church? What are the things we believe? What are the things we focus on and we think are important? And this week, Michelle's going to be speaking to us on Sunday. Michelle, what are you going to be talking to us about?
So I'm super excited because I get to speak on the topic of serving, and being the Director of Ministries, being able to see that this really plays such a huge role in not just 5 Point, but any church. And honestly, who we are as believers in Christ is our role is to serve. That's why He's commanded us to do that. So I'm super excited to be able to get up and just sort of share my thoughts and feelings and just what God has to say about serving.
Yeah. It's awesome, I think, on Sundays here at 5 Point to see all the people who do serve. But I think sometimes when we see so many people serving, we kind of wonder, well, what's my spot? Where could I help? There's so many people already doing this. And you just assume that things are already taken care of, when in reality, I mean, we can always use more people to serve. And, I mean, how do you feel about that? And what is the purpose behind serving?
And I think, and I actually touched this in the message on Sunday because, as I always say, when people show up on a Sunday morning, they see the sexy side. They see everything that's done, everything that's taken care of. They see people in roles taking care of things that they don't realize all the stuff that takes place for that to happen. Yeah. And what is sad is we do have, this isn't the sad part, what is amazing is we have amazing volunteers, and we have a big volunteer legacy team pool. But what the sad part is, what we could continue to do and how we could really stretch our arms even further into the city is by having more people, because lots of our people do dual roles, or they are serving in 2 or 3 areas because we don't have anybody else that stepped up to do those roles. Yeah. So to me, one of the big things that I'm hitting on for Sunday is for people to see, okay, what is your role? What are ways that you either can step into serving or you can push yourself to do more? Because I know a lot of people, like Daddy likes to use the catchphrase, come, sit, leave.
Yeah.
That if this is a church where you just come, sit, leave, then we do want you to find a place where you feel like you can get involved in. We do want you to find a place where you can serve, or you can sort of put your roots down and be able to make an impact, because the church isn't about you coming just to be fed. It's for, okay, how can I be fed so then I can therefore go and make disciples of men? And that is the purpose of serving, is all of those coming together. So what I have loved about this series that we're doing, What's the Point, is I think there's so many times on Sunday mornings we can't talk about everything that needs to be talked about on a Sunday morning. Yep. So a lot of people don't know the holes that we have, because when they come in, from the time they pull onto our property, they see legacy team members, and our legacy team members go above and beyond to make sure that guests feel welcomed, or that our people inside the walls are getting the services that they need. You know, with Kid Point, you would never know that we need more volunteers in Kid Point, but we do. You would never know that our student ministry can't go to the next level because of the more people that we need, but it's because our legacy team members are so good now that you don't. The outside world doesn't fill the holes. If you're serving in those areas, you definitely can fill the holes. As I say, that sexy side, that's what we see. So I have been encouraged by this series because I think it's been good for our people. Like the first week when Daddy spoke about vision and talking about what is the vision of 5 Point, what are the 5 purposes? Because a lot of people don't even know what our 5 purposes are, because we can't talk about it every Sunday. And then we'll also to talk about all the things that we do for outreach. That's not normal. Yeah. And for people to see, oh, that's really where my tithe is going. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is a huge portion of what, and we're not content with where we are. It's where do we continue to go to be able to do those things? And then Pastor Mark with talking about community. And so many times, how many times have we been told, well, this church is too big? Yeah. Well, it is a big church, but it's only as big as you make it. Yep. So if you're not trying to find community, then it is going to seem really big. But serving is a great way to add in to being able to find community with that.
And also, it's so important to think about how we don't want to just be consumers.
Right.
We want to come, do exactly what God called us to do and be exactly who He called us to be. And He did not create us to be the person that just comes, consumes, and leaves, like Pastor talks about. And so, yes, it's helpful to the church, but it's also helpful to you as a legacy team member, a volunteer, because God created you to do more than just sit in that chair on a Sunday morning
Totally.
and listen to the message and go home.
You know, even with writing the message, it convicted me because, you know, a lot of times whenever you are getting up to speak somewhere, God's going to speak to you. He has to speak through you first to be able to convey the message. And it was like, it's so easy when you're on church staff.
Yeah.
You just sort of cloak yourself in that. And you're like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm on church staff. Well, but how am I serving?
Yeah.
What am I doing outside
Yeah.
the context
Outside
of how
your
I
job.
get married, how I get paid.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm married to is what I was
Yes.
trying to say. So, because I know there are times that I serve, but it's because it's what I get paid to do. So it made me think about what ways can I push myself outside of just showing up on a Sunday morning and doing what I feel like has to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what we forget is honestly our actions are showing Jesus 24/7. And if people can see me serving others outside the walls of 5 Point, then they know it's not just because I'm getting paid, but that's who I am as a believer in Christ. And I think so often we forget about those kind of things because it is easy to come sit leave. It is way easier, especially in the summertime, to come sit leave because I could go do something afterwards.
nice
I'm here for
outside.
2 services, but to see, okay, the purpose of serving it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about how do I further the call on my life.
Yeah.
And, you know I can struggle with that sometimes because church staff work is busy. But do I get caught up in the busyness of the work or the busyness of what I need to do for the Lord?
Yeah.
And that can be difficult sometimes.
Yep. I want to go back and hit on something you were talking about how you may come to a service and it looks like everything is running smoothly and everything's great and we don't need the help. But there are times when maybe it doesn't look like that and you do notice there's a hole here or something needs to be done and you just walk in and complain about it and move on about your day. Like the solution to that would be, hey, you know what? Instead of complaining about that, maybe I could help find a solution and start getting involved and start making that better.
And I think that's one thing like where we've talked about with this series is sometimes people don't even know where they need to go. How do I take that next step?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? Well, they see a hole. Well, it's easier just to, y'all need to fix that. You know, even with all my ministries, as you know, since you're on my team, I'm like, okay, well, if we have a problem, how are we going to fix it?
Yeah.
We're not just going to keep it here and be done with it.
We always have a solution.
We have a solution for it. If we don't have a solution, we got to figure the solution out. And I think this series can hopefully help people to see, okay, I've thought about that, but now what's my action step?
Yeah.
What do I do with that?
Yeah.
And I really hope if people see things, we want to hear about those problems. If you see things or there's holes that we need to fix or there's issues or this would be a good ministry, this will be, but we don't want for you just to tell us.
Yeah.
We want you to tag team with us.
Yeah.
So therefore we can try to, because there are great ideas out there that maybe we hadn't even thought about, or there's things that we need to be doing that you're like, you know what, that is a really, really good idea. And I love feedback.
Yeah.
I love feedback. I think you only grow from getting feedback, but I don't love feedback when you're just going to tell me what we need to do and you don't want to help fix it. Then I'm like, that's probably
like,
not going to go over real well.
Feedback's great. What's your idea for a solution?
That's exactly right.
Help us out. Like, help us do it because obviously we need the help.
Yeah.
Like, we need more people. We need more hands and feet.
Totally.
So the best way to do that is if you haven't been through Connect 101, go through Connect 101 so that you can get to a point where you can serve and get on a team that can help in the areas that you see the help's needed, you know. That's what I would do.
No, totally. And that's honestly what I was going to say is as we're getting new people in the church, we have seen what we call volunteers, our legacy team, grow. What, if you were brand new coming, what would be the one thing that you would want somebody that's new coming to 5 Point or somebody that's been coming and hasn't gotten involved? Like in a 1 minute brief snippet commercial, tell us what's the best way, the easiest way to get involved at 5 Point.
Easiest way to get involved in 5 Point. If you're here on a Sunday morning, there's a little QR code on the back of the chair in front of you. Scan that QR code, sign up for Connect 101. So it's not just a tool for us to get you to serve. You will learn about the church. You will learn even more in depth about what we believe, about what our core values are. And then you'll get to go through all of the areas that would be a possibility for you to serve in and learn more about those and figure out what your place is. And we don't just place you wherever. We place you where you're gifted and where you feel like God has purposed you to be, like what you love to do, that's where we want you serving. And on top of it, when you scan that QR code, you have the option to sign up for classes, to sign up for life groups, whatever's going on at the time. You can choose those things to, again, get more involved in community like Pastor Mark preached on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way to get involved here at 5 Point. And even in Connect 101, you meet people and there are relationships that are built in that class that have been lifelong for some people. So it's just a great way to get connected all across the board.
Totally. And I think what our main goal for What's the Point is for you to walk away from this series saying, what's the point of my relationship with Christ?
Yeah.
What's the point of 5 Point Church?
Yeah.
And how do we bring those two together?
Yep.
Because 5 Point cannot reach the purpose and vision of what 5 Point is without the people doing what God's called us to do. So if we can figure out the point of who we are in Christ, then I know that this church can reach this city. Yep. But as a church staff, we cannot do it alone. No. And even if we do 24 hours a day and we are here all day, every day, we still will not be able to scratch the surface. And I feel like we are literally just starting to scratch the surface within 5 Point and truly stretching out our arms and doing what God's called us to do. Yeah. If we can lock arms together and all come together and create what we call a legacy team, and the whole purpose we went with Legacy Team for volunteers is because we do want to leave a legacy. Yep. We want people to look back and to say there was something different. Yep. And you really reach that through serving because it's showing the hands and feet of Jesus. It's not just about me and my quiet walk with Jesus. When I serve others, they're able to actually see the hands and feet of Jesus.
Thanks, Michelle.
No problem.
Appreciate you.
Can't wait for Sunday.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. We'll see you Sunday.
Bye.